guess humility is out the window here. All right, thank you. I've never been accused. Great question. But nothing really, there's not one thing that you remember saying, doing, you said, wow, I really nailed, I hit a home run on this one. Something with the FF, something with Spider-Man. Because there's so many iconic stories. And he did that to Gwen Stacy, the Galactus run. I know you've done so many of them, but the question is good. Is there anything that you were hitting on that you really felt like you nailed it when you were done with it?
I nailed every one. I'll tell you one that I didn't nail. See, I remember the failures. Because there was only one. Kirby and I had to do a Fantastic Four book. And there was a deadline approaching, and I hadn't given him any plot at all. Now, I only gave him the very simplest plot, and he would expand on them and add a lot of things, but we usually started with whatever simple little thought I would give him. And I had no plot, and it was deadline time, and the big thing you always need with a new book is a villain. Who's the super villain going to be? So I thought of a name. I said, what about a guy called Diablo? Boy, that sounds devilish. Draw me a Diablo. So Jack drew this great-looking guy who looked like Diablo. That's what it was, Diablo. And I said, that's a great villain. And let's start. And I told him something. I don't remember what I told him. It was terrible. He drew it, made it better. And the story came out, and it was another story. To this day, I don't remember what the story was. I think it was a horrible story. Did you ever read it? Did you ever see it? Did anybody ever see a Fantastic Four featuring Diablo? See, nobody even remembers it. It's the one thing I did that I wished I hadn't done, because I don't know what it was. And that was it.
So it's near perfection. All right,
but everything else I did, was superb.
Okay, next question.
Mr. Jr., what was...
That's okay.
What was the best and worst thing you've ever done with Marvel?
The best and the worst thing? The best thing. There's two. I hate to say the best thing I did was such a horrible moment. It was the 36th issue of Spider-Man, because it was such an amazing, horrible, horrible moment. But I'd say if I had to pick one thing, it was probably A Man Without Fear that I did with Frank Miller. And the worst thing, I keep on getting copies of this book pushed in front of me, is probably something to do with Dazzler. The Dazzler. Alright, I was comparing my creations with Stan's. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I created the Dazzler, Stan creates Galactus.
The Dazzler was great.
The first issue I did of Spider-Man was 2 midget terrorists.
Sounds like me.
Alright, here you go. And Stan creates the Silver Surfer. I created the Mud Monster, which was a creation which was Hydro and Sandman that got punched together and becomes
terrific.
The Mud Monster. So my 3 greatest moments in comics history have been those 3. But my greatest moment, I have to say, the most proudest piece of work was Man Without Fear with Frank Miller.
Yeah.
Thank you. See, I remember all my bad stuff. Stan remembers only one bad.
Well, I only did one thing. Easy to remember.
Hey Stan, you've done tons and tons of cameos for the Marvel films. I got 2 little things. One, how does that work? Do you just show up one day and it's like, hey Stan, let's get you in this one scene? Or is it written in advance? And my other thing is, which cameo is your all-time favorite?
I heard the second part, I missed the first part.
Sure. How does that work with the cameos? Do you force yourself upon the director, or they
You may not know me well, but even in the little that you've seen of me, do I look like the kind of guy who would force myself? All I do is I cry and I yell and I scream if I don't get a cameo. No, they have asked me to do these, and I got to admit, I love it. I'm a ham. I love doing them. Wait till you see me in Captain America. Wait till you see me. You've done guarantee the Spider-Man one is the funniest one you will ever see. You mustn't. Oh, and I'll tell you something else. I didn't do one for the X-Men. For some reason, they didn't call me. Maybe it was because they shot most of it out of the country and I didn't want to travel that far. But the point is, I'm not in it. But I figured out the reason they didn't try to get me. They are so shrewd. They figure without me, it'll sell more tickets. And I'll tell you why. People will go to the movie, and when they come out, they'll say, wait a minute, we didn't see Stan's cameo. We must have missed it. We'll buy another ticket and go back. They're going to sell twice as many.
So which one is your favorite? That was the second part of that question.
The one that didn't come up yet, the one in Spider-Man. Where do you see it? Oh, it is so funny. And it wasn't none of these are my idea. They tell me what to do. So, there you go. But this one is genius.
Mr.
Can I describe it? Should I tell it? Am I allowed to? But you mustn't tell anybody. If they find out it gets around, they may not give me any more cameos. There's a big battle going on with Spider-Man and the Lizard in a library. I'm the librarian. And I'm stamping books. So I'm just stamping books, and I have earphones on, and I'm listening to music. So while I'm stamping the books, I'm going... And this life and death battle is going on behind me, but I don't know it, I don't hear them. So that's what it is, and it looks so funny, and I look so dumb. They always manage to make me look dumb. That's it.
Excellent question.
That'll teach you this a big question.
I have a question for Stan.
Makes sense.
Ever since I was a child, you've been one of my biggest idols. And I remember...
One of your favorite what?
Idols.
One of them?
American Idol. Stan will sing for you now. He's an American Idol.
And I figured early on that I want to be the next you. I want to be the next Stan Lee and create my version of Marvel. How can I create my Marvel? Do you have any tips on that?
How can you create Marvel?
How can he be you and create his own universe?
Listen, I've got enough competition. If you think First of all, if you want to be like me, you have to be smart enough and lucky enough to pick guys like this to work with. I was reasonably good at what I did, but I promise you, if I didn't have John Romita, Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, Gene Colan, John Buscema, Gil Kane, and all of them drawing these strips, I'd be one of the guys outside buying the tickets to come in and listen to other people talk. All I did was a lot of words. These artists like this make those words come alive and make those words look magical. So I'll admit, I think I'm wonderful, but I wouldn't have been that wonderful without the artist.
So he has no answer for you, basically.
Did that answer the question?
Yeah, he has to glean something from that. I don't know what you're going to do. You're going to have to spend 60 or 70 years working it out. I don't know how the hell you'll do it. I don't know if you can follow him, honestly.
Oh, you can't follow me. Nobody can follow me.
But if you're just one level below, then you're in competition with the rest of the writers in comics. So you'd be a good company.
I'm getting to like you, John.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question. Gave him a chance to be funny.